This week on the show, we are fixing a Mercedes again. Do you think we break these cars on purpose to fix them again? I didn't do it. When you have this rattling sound, if you drive an old Mercedes, eventually it will start rattling. The engine will start rattling when you stop at traffic lights or whatnot. That's when you have an engine mount that's wore out. So these engine mounts are filled with oil, and that oil makes an escape, and eventually the whole mount disintegrates. But not to worry, you can get new mounts. Here's a part number for the GLE350 rear drive 2016. I think this fits in most of the W166 models. So this is the cheapest possible piece of garbage that I got from China, and it was not expensive. It was I don't know, $35, $40 at most. And when this film is out, it's probably $2,000 with all these import taxes. But that is not my problem anymore because I fixed mine. And I have a spare. Okay, do you hear that rattle? We're gonna fix that. When your Mercedes rattles like this at traffic lights, there's only one thing that could be wrong, and we're gonna show it to you. Join me here in the dark. I am looking at the engine mount down there, the little yellowish collar under the exhaust manifold that I need to get out. So I need to make some access here, and to do that I need to loosen up this AC compressor, because I need to get that mount out of there somehow, and I do need to remove this ECU. To do that, I need to disconnect the battery. Once the battery is disconnected, I can't move this car easily anymore. So I need to be in the right position when I start. I'm in a tiny residential garage with baby wipes and everything else here. So I need to move back and position so I can put this on jack stands and get to work. The important part is that I can still close the garage door, because with these jobs you never know if you can complete it in a day, and now I can't quite close it. Now I have plenty of space behind there. Yes, we squeeze through if I need it. I can open this door. I have just enough space in the front to creep under there. Same on the sides. I can put a jack underneath. The battery is under this cover here. No. Where is it in this vehicle? I totally forget. Is it below there? Hold on. Where is the battery? I'll be dipped. The battery is actually under the front seat. So I will need to disconnect the negative cable and get to work. It's 10mm nut. That comes right off. Put this aside so it won't touch the terminal. It's a bit dark here, I forgot to bring the light. Next I'm hooking this computer. There's a trick here with these cables. If I just remember what that trick was. I don't want to break anything. I think the trick is this. You just lift it up, and that lever action will pull this connector out. Then the back side, there's this tab that you pull out. That action will pull the rear connector off. And this vehicle is starting to get a bit old, so things start getting brittle. So pull back and then pull up. I recall that this can be helped a little bit by applying a tool when it's starting to get out. And yeah, there you go. That was easy. I think it should just come off by pulling it out. Yeah. I just don't want to break anything, so I don't want to use violence. I don't usually like to remove this bracket because I recall there's a bolt that I did not like very much. Now I want to take that heat shield off, and that heat shield has a few bolts. Actually, I don't need to take this heat shield off. I don't know. I'd prefer not to, but I need to take this lower heat shield off anyway. So let's see if I can take this bolt here and this bolt here, and there's another one back there. Okay, after a really brief inspection, I realized that I do need to take this top bracket off and the top heat shield to make me some more space. So there are a few bolts for each that I'm gonna remove. One is here, wire loom bracket off, out of the way. Then this one here, T30. I think these are all T30s. I unscrewed a few bolts and disconnected the cable ties, and I think if I leave it loose like this, I have enough space to get to those reverse Torx bolts. I don't want to pull out anything that I don't need to, because it just takes time. Sometimes it takes more time not to do that, but I want to leave it dangerously. So I can now access the three lower heat shield bolts. These are all reverse Torx. And in this area, all these Torx and reverse Torx bolts are generally the same size, T30. Of course, it's reverse Torx, so it's E10. Remaining bolts out without filming. Fortunately, all these are the same size, so I don't need to mind where I took them off. For the rear one, I had to use a swivel extension because I'm using a fairly large ratchet here, which didn't quite fit. And if I can get this away in any direction. I need to be able to get it back in also. So there's a trick. Okay, it's out. This is fairly accessible from the top. So then I need to disconnect this AC pump. I need to get this belt out, and to do that I need to take a picture of the routing so that it's easier to put back. Put a socket in here and loosen the belt, and it will come off. Disconnected the wiring of the AC compressor, and I'm fitting a little bit bigger Torx bit here and trying to find leverage. Okay, I meant to do that. Let's put it there for a little bit. My camera work is not top notch today because I'm more concerned about doing this job than actually filming it. I bet it has two bolts at least. I will only have one. attaches to this bracket here. I might be able to see it better from the underneath where the second bolt is. But I could also feel it with my fingers. I'm gonna need to use bubble extension here. Really hard to do with one hand and hold the camera in the other hand. So let me put the camera away. The second bolt was actually also connecting one of the engine ground cables. And I think there's another one that I need to find because it's not loose yet. So these bolts are the same again, so I'm good with those. I need to feel it more. Where is the third bolt? Oh, yeah. It's in the back. Behind there. So, again, I'm not gonna film it because it's too hard. Alright. Now I have dropped the compressor right down there. Top tip. Take the lower bolts off first and then the top bolt. It's much easier that way. So here's the tool, and I don't know if this is the right size. Slide it in, and it is the right size. You can probably see it going in. There is really no other way. I'm using a 3/4 adapter and a long extension, and I'm not quite sure, should I put it this way or the other way. Let me fiddle with it first. Okay, I'm gonna breaker bar from the top. Wish me luck. As the luck would have it, this is not the right. Yeah. I dropped it all the way down. It would be easier if I took this upper heat shield off. Definitely feels like that. Okay, now the try. It's cracked loose. Reposition. I really need to get this threaded out from the top before I lift this vehicle, because then I can't, it's much harder to reach when I have lifted it up. I open it by like one thread and it threads out really easily. This GLE rear drive seems to have more space than I was expecting for this engine mount. I can get this upper bolt out all the way without dropping without lifting the engine. Here's the bolt. I need to get those lower bolts out from the bottom, and then I will prepare to lift the engine up. But to proceed, I will need to remove the splash guard from under the engine, the black thing down there to get access, and I'm not gonna film it again because that's boring stuff. And okay, stay with me. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is a rear drive vehicle, and I forgot that it is a rear drive vehicle. And I think I was doing all sorts of unnecessary work removing that AC compressor, because the engine mount is right here. And I would have seen it if I just lifted up and if I took a look down here. For the upper bolt, I don't see that I could have removed it without taking the computer out and the heat shield. So I don't think it's possible to get to it from the bottom, but it may be. It might be. Okay, so when I'm installing it, I am doing it in a different order, and I can see what I can do. So you can see bolt holes for various things that I have removed. And now I need to get these two bolts out. And then I need to lift the engine up a bit, and I think I'm doing it right under here. The filming may not be perfect, but let me try to crack these bolts open. I don't have quite the leverage I was hoping. Oh, it opened. Never mind. False alarm. The next thing, I need to get the jack underneath, and I can't use transmission jack easily here, so the bolts look like this. I don't know if this camera was filming the right direction, but yeah. So I ended up lifting it with this the sump because I couldn't quite reach up there with my jack, and I didn't want to pile up time with it. Hope that the seal doesn't break. Lifting the engine just a little bit, just enough to get this mount out. And it comes out like that. Putting the new one in same way and quick. So I will need to go and put the upper bolt on because I don't want it to bind. If I put the lower bolts on first, I run into a possibility that the top side bracket doesn't line up when I drop the motor down. It's much easier to try to get the bottom side bolts aligned to the bottom brackets than the top side. So while it's still loose, I'm going to get the top bolt in. I found what is wrong with this mount. The fluid came out, so I need to get some oil dry. Okay, you can see the new mount is there. So there's a tab here in this plastic that will need to align with this hole. So I'm starting to thread it in. This is again gonna be terribly boring, so I'm gonna skip filming this. Could actually work this in from the bottom, but I find it a little bit more comfortable to do it from the top. So I cheated a little bit. I didn't quite go into this without checking in the instructions. I talked to my neighbor guy who has an AMG E-Series, and he changed his mounts, and it has a V8. It's a bit tighter than this one, so for me this is so much easier than for him. The bolt is pulling the mount into its correct position. I'm leaving it just hand tight. You can see how these tabs are lining up there. I'm gonna stick the bolts in from the bottom. So the reason I'm struggling with this E12 with the bottom mounts is I'm trying to avoid slipping it because this is a little bit modified. So I had to cut this short when I was doing something on a BMW with the very short-headed bolt, where this kind of beveled socket would not work, so it had to be like 90-degree sharp cut. So now I don't have a good E12. What I have instead is this mess, so it's not biting all the way, and I don't want to use E13 here. going under. Now that I have oil dry there, I can swim in the oil dry. Try the position of the camera. Not really filming myself here a whole lot because filming and working on shit is a bit hard. So I tried to position the camera so that you could see what's going on, but can't guarantee anything. Well, trying to get the butts in from the bottom. Oh, right in my noggin. Where did it go? Oh, right here, right under me. So of course it's not lining up perfectly now because the engine is lifted, but I feel that I'm not cross-threading this, and I don't want to get my hat in the oil. I got this, come on man, I got this hat on the summer vacation in a very nice place, the Musala camp. We have a video about that where I'm riding around forest trails on a BMW motorcycle. Check it out. It's from a couple of years ago when this comes out. Now I'm gonna lower the engine, and I did not lift it more than at most half an inch, which is great. Okay, now I need to get the light and see that the tabs are in, and I will show you those tabs in a second. I'm sure there's a torque spec for these bolts, but I think that spec is tight enough but not too tight, because Germans are sticklers with torque specs. They probably have it for this one too. And I think the right torque for these bolts is when the nut is rounded off. It guarantees that it never comes out. Well, unless it breaks. I feel that this small wrench, if I just use elbow ergometer, will be perfect. Slippage. And I need to find perfect leverage. Let's see if my left hand works best. Yeah, tight as nuns. Here it is. And here's the upside view of the same. Now I need to get the tool. Special Mercedes tool. And elbow torque it. Does this camera see? It sees what it sees. Like, come on, man. I'm using a different camera because my GoPro ran out of battery, and I don't feel like getting another battery. So I'm getting the tool in. You can see it actually really well from the top, the bolt I made. This time I'm using a breaker bar. And there's still some thread to thread in before I tighten it. I mean, this could be technically possible to put into you use torque wrench here, but you need to do a little bit of math because of this extra leverage you get. So I'm sure there's a website that does the math for you, because this tool kind of extends the torque wrench arm, and the reading will be lower than the torque wrench thinks. I think this can be fairly tight. Although it's aluminum threads, so I think it's good enough. Right. What goes back next? I'll squeeze the lower heat shield. Which way was it? This way probably. I'll squeeze this in there before I take the. You know, I think I still needed to take the compressor out just to get this heat shield out. Okay, and I start putting the bolts back together. Really hard to film doing that, so I'm gonna do that heat shield first. Then I'm gonna do the compressor. The heat shield bolts, getting them threaded in was a little bit fiddly again, because it is I can really reach in there with one hand at a time, even without the camera. Can you see this, where that bolt is? Probably not. You probably can't see it because I'm blocking the light. So it's right here. Click! Reach here fairly easily with this. This is the back lower heat shield bolt. And again, tight enough, but not too tight. Threads are a bit crusty, so the last few threads go in pretty tight. AC compressor. And now I'm putting the top bolt in first. Just using the bolt to pull it in. Nah, don't worry about it. This is just fine. I'm not snugging it yet. I'm putting the lower front bolt and this ground cable in next. Again with the feeling. The hole is always lower than you think. Remember it, boys. Might be easier to get from the bottom. That's what she said. Okay, accessing these lower bolts is so much easier from the underneath. I mean, it is ridiculously easy. I can get here with just a ratchet and a socket, and I can tighten both of them from here. Click, said my shoulder. Click. Right. Usually I have my 8-year-old filming this stuff, but I knew that this time it's a bit hard to keep it PG-13 until in the post. So I decided not to do that. Don't worry, these bolts are still at the same place they were when I was taking them out, so you're not missing much if I don't point the camera quite there, because I do need to see it myself. First, and I bent this heat shield a bit, so I need to unbend it or bend it back like a big hum. To get these bolts threaded. There. Can you see it? Happy now? See, I need to use my knuckles to move that heat shield or this bracket, the computer bracket and heat shield combination, so I could get these threads started, and they are threading to the head. I'm going through this hole in this bracket, which is left there just for this purpose, so that this bolt can be unbolted and bolted. The lower one can't use the extension, fit in there. And that's why it gets a bit fiddly, because I have like 5 degrees of working angle here with the wrench. Okay. Click. All right. How many bolts do I have left here? I have one of these and one of these, and this one I didn't even need to take out. Can I see? Yeah, it goes to this bracket. I have a recollection that I have taken this this bolt off before without actually needing to do that. Was it when I was changing plugs, or I don't know. Do you need to actually take the computer off for the plugs? I forget. I've done plugs in this one. I totally forget what I did. I probably didn't take it off because I didn't know about the battery being underneath the drinker seat. Now I have okay, I have this cable and the top bolt, cable bracket, and the top bolt to that valve cover. Gloves are tearing apart, but there's nothing I can do about it now because I'm pretty much out of gloves. And I use gloves because I get wicked contact dermatitis sometimes from the chemicals and oils and such. So that's good when you are doing a mechanic job, and that's why I'm not doing a mechanic's job. These films, these are not, I mean, don't mistake this for how-to videos, I mean, in the traditional sense anyway. So these are not instructions how these things should be done. These videos are what happens when a guy tries to fix his car on his driveway. Okay, now I'm out of bolts, so that means that I'm done with the assembly, except that I need to put the computer back on. Let's install a computer, because that's what I think is going to happen next. Except I took a few cables off their brackets. So I don't want to show it, but there is the upper O2 sensor bracket, that is the cable goes into a bracket in the heat shield. It's attached to the heat shield. The computer looks like this. It has these tabs which we'll need to slot in to the grommets in the mounting bracket. It's two of them, and both need to slide in correctly, and I'm doing it with feel. First, there's the center tab. Oh, this is backwards. No wonder. Sideways and backwards. Okay, it goes in only one way, so that's good. So the center tab catches first, and there are tabs on also, and rubber grommets on top. So all the four will need to go in, and it's in. Then I will put this weather pack in, and it won't push in with force. You need to push in this locking mechanism from the back. That is what pulls this one in, and then I did a bad thing and got some stuff there, so I'm getting zip ties. So I did a bad thing and I got these cable ties off because they're really annoying. So, but there's a cable tie bracket still there. I'm putting a zip tie through, and then in case David Freiberger watches this, I'm cutting it straight so that the next guy who's working on it doesn't bleed. Okay, so this front connector goes the same way. It has its own mechanism, and you just use it and don't use violence. I'm pulling a zip tie through for this big cable which attaches to the bracket in the intake plenum, and again cutting it straight and catching it before it burns on the exhaust. All right, now what do I have left to do other than that thing? So I'll put this purge valve line, put it back on here, and then I'm inspecting things. Is everything, all the lines, cables, nothing is snatching up? Everything is copacetic. Now I need to go back to my telephone and pick my camera telephone and figure out that routing. So it's a bit dirty and oily here. That is not an oil leak. It is I just managed to spill a little when I was pulling the oil filter out the last time, because yeah, there's a trick here too. So if the oil filter, when you're pulling it out, is not staying with this can, the oil can't escape very quickly down to the sump, and so it'll just spill out from around the filter. So for that eventuality, you want to put rags around it. What do I know? I know how it goes. This is one of the most annoying things to do in modern cars, because this is pretty much the last thing you do when you're fiddling with shit. And then
it just keeps you from completing what you were doing, because it's always a bit different than what you were remembering. Okay, so the idler, water pump, and the alternator, they're hooked up. Then I need to route bottom around the AC compressor. Now I need to get my socket at the ready. Okay, it's there. And some part of my gloves too. So it is aligned, and it'll be perfectly aligned when I start the car. So I see underneath I have some junk there because I was playing with different jacks if I could get there, but I did not lift this car a whole lot. You can see maybe 3 inches at most, so just enough that I could get underneath. Because of reasons. It doesn't fall from that high. So this is it pretty much for the top side of the engine. I'm going underneath, button it up, get the tools out, and put the splash guard back on. I'm not gonna film it, it's too boring. I'm gonna check the drinker's side mount, because they should be changed in pairs, but I am not going to do that. I have it here. It's right here. No, San Pellegrino should really sponsor us. So send me a case. I have everything done here, dirty, done the dirty deed. I'm not going to film underneath. I'm just finishing up, dropping the car from the jack stands, and then I'm going to connect the battery cable and start it up. And then we get to that battery cable, this time with some light. There's a lot of dirt in that battery box, which I am not gonna clean today. Fishing out this terminal, always the negative terminal. And after the smoke has disappeared, we'll check if the connections were correct. Oh, I'm an electrician, by the way, so that's why I know how to do this. No, seriously. Let me clean it up a bit. But I mean, electricians never clean up after themselves. And that's a job for somebody else. Okay, so this kick panel here has been kicked off kilter, but this is my customer's truck and I'm not gonna clean it for them. Okay, we got the electricity and more garbage. I mean, this owner is a hoarder. And what is the most important thing after fixing your Mercedes? A test drive? Yes, it's counting your tools. Make sure that everything is back in your toolboxes where they were, and no tool is missing. Like, imagine you're a surgeon, not a sturgeon. Let's see if it starts anymore. I like this turnkey approach. This has this start button that you can just pull out and put the key in. Much better this way. It runs. So far, it doesn't rattle, but it's running very high idle. Let the idle go down first. Go to closed loop, please. I have the lid open just in case. Okay, now it's 900. Maybe just put it in gear. course it will complain. Now it's in gear, 600 RPM, in reverse. I can hear a little bit of clicking, and I think that well, it's possible that it's the other mount, or it is the transmission mount. So all those three mounts should be changed at the same time, but I mean, you do it. I'm not gonna do it. Oh, that was my wife going through the door. That's that rattling. But that rattling was from the shift. I don't hear that god-awful rattling anymore, so I'll let the customer test drive it and come back with a complaint. Alright, that's all for the show. Catch us on the trail next week or in the garage 4 weeks from now. Have a good one, Billy.